What's up, everybody? My name is Akeed Pickett, and this is my first YouTube video. And my first YouTube video is going to be basically about courage. And I've been through a lot of my life. I'm pretty sure other people have been through things in their life as well. We're all humans, and we all go through things. Now, I am a little rough. I don't have a haircut. I'm still a little sick. I haven't been feeling good, and I've been cleaning up. So, excuse how I all congested and everything. So, but I do want to speak about courage because I feel like courage is very important. It played a big role in my life, and it plays a big role in everyone's life, to be honest. Like I said before, we all go through things, and we all been through things, good, bad, and just some mediocre. And the reason why I started a YouTube page is because I wanted to just basically share my own testimony about courage. I've been through things in my past, and I've been through trauma. I feel like everybody goes through some type of trauma, honestly. And mine has, and I'm gonna be honest, basically from neglect. And I feel like the first step is being able to admit what you've gone through. That way you can basically heal yourself. So yes, to me, this is a healing process. That way I can be helping the next person or the next child, teenager, grown person or elderly. Because honestly, going through life, you're going to continue to go through things, positive, negative, and sometimes you feel like this is enough. I need to stop going through these things. Honestly, I feel like trauma goes on in, social life, personal life, marriage, um, like I said, family life. So it's so much as far as I can go in depth with this, but I'm just gonna basically hit on the surfaces about everything because I don't want to get too personal and say some things that I don't want to say about from my past, which I'm not gonna bring up, and just really be able to sit and just let this be on a positive note. So to me, courage, like I said, was first because to be able to believe that you can get through this, you can say, hey, it's okay that I went through this situation, and like I said before, mine is neglect. Being able to say, hey, I've been through this situation, I'm happy I went through it. I'm not going to change the fact that I went through it. I'm not going to act like that I'm going to change the fact that I went through it and try to cover it up. And that's, to me, I feel like personally a lot of people go through. Because we do, in the past, we try to cover up things and say, well, no, this didn't happen. That way you don't have to deal with it. But with me, I don't mind being able to say that I went through neglect. I'm not going to cover it up because it's honestly a fake thing to do, to cover something up and say, oh, well, I didn't go through this. I'm perfect. No one's perfect in this world, So to me, when it came to my healing process, I honestly didn't have nowhere else to go but to God. And I had to believe in myself that it was okay for me to go through this down stage as far as being depressed and saying, I need someone, because everybody needs someone at the end of the day, and I feel like the person who comes first is God. So I went through this stage of basically neglecting my feelings. Even though it was reality, I was neglecting my own feelings, saying, Akeed, everybody goes through this. Why do you have to feel this way? And not being able to identify with myself that this was a very deep problem and that I couldn't continue to do what I was doing because it was wrong. Because I was out hurting people, simple point of fact, because I was hurt. Hurt people. And that's just simply how it goes. If you mean well from the beginning, then guess what? You're going to mean well at the end. But in my situation, I'm speaking from experience, I was basically hurt at the beginning, and I continued to hurt people. And that's just how it goes because you really don't know anything else to do but to hurt someone because that's just what you're used to. So that's just how I dealt with, me being able to go through life. Now, I'm only 25 years old, so some of these things are recent. But before I got married, I really had to go to God and just pray and say the things that I didn't really agree with and things that I didn't like and things that I wanted to change for myself because at the end of the day, I knew who I was as an individual. I identified as a gay man, and that's who I am. That's who I'm going to always be. Mentally, I went through a stage of thinking like a woman, wanting to be a woman because honestly, I was raised by powerful women. And so I felt like in my head that I had to be them. In all actuality, I didn't have to do anything but just be myself, and it was okay. And when you continue to go through that, especially being in the community of, the gays, the lesbians, and trans and everything, you feel like that you have to fit yourself in this particular spot and say, this is who I am. And to me, I felt like due to me being raised by women, I had to say, hey, I should be a woman too. I should do these things. Honestly, this is my first time admitting it. I looked at lipstick and I wanted to try it on, but I didn't because it's a point of fact because I felt like that wasn't the right thing to do. Not saying that it was, the right thing to do for somebody else because I do have friends who decided to become trans and decided to go do these things, and there's nothing wrong with that. I can only speak from my actual experience as far as me wanting to do the things that I was going to do, and I decided not to do it because I was able to go to God and get a clear mind and be able to understand of the things that I went through negatively. I was going to go through them whether I liked it or not, and I'm glad that I went through it at a young age because it would honestly make me a better person. So that was my foundation. My foundation was trauma, me going through these things and being able to say, hey, guess what? I went through these things and I expressed them to other people. And honestly, sometimes I feel like I wasn't even heard. But what I had to understand was for me to be able to go to God and for Him to be able to listen like He always does and say, Akeed, you went through these things, and guess what? I've seen you go through these things. The only thing I was waiting on for you to do was to get on your knees and pray and, commit to your sins that you have done in the past. Because it's a point of fact, you've hurt people. And whether you like it or not, that's what you did, and that's just what it is, and it was wrong. Hurting people, what I did as far as, pushing them out of my life, making arguments, telling them that I didn't need them. But in all reality, I actually did. So I had to go to God before I got married and let all of this out. And I went into a deep depression. It was related to drugs. It was related to, me binge watching TV shows, me relating with different things. And it was all because it was simply my healing process as far as me being able to go through this. And then it was me working long hours at work as well, me being able to say, I'm not going to deal with this today. So what I'm going to do is drown myself into work so I don't have to deal with it. And it was me honestly coming out working 10, 12-hour days, and my body literally shutting down on me, me going home and saying, my body shutting down, I have to go to bed. My husband not understanding what's going on with me and all this stuff, because to the point of fact, there was things that mentally and psychologically I just didn't feel like dealing with. And, that was my escape at that time. But like I said, I had to go to God and say, this is what I need to do. And I prayed and I gave it to God and I was able to heal from it. So that was my courage. My courage was to me having to identify what I was going through. Even though it was, what I went through was wrong, I had to basically go to God and say, this is what I'm going through. I need you. Even though I've been neglecting you because I felt like I was going to shut down. And, and being able to just tell Him what I was going through and I needed help. And to me, when I first started praying again, and this was back in between 2014 and 2015, I was able to identify that everything was going to be okay. Being able to say, I'm okay, things are going to be okay, but you had to go to God to make it okay. And to me, that was my big thing, was because I had too much pride in myself to say, hey, I don't need this, and I don't need Him. And that was the wrong thing for me to do. So I had to make it right with myself and with Him and with people around me to be able to say, hey, we all need somebody. And there's times that we've been there for each other mentally and able to say that everything is going to be okay. We've had phone calls or seen each other in person and crying to be able to say, it's okay. So I felt like, due to me doing that, it caused me to have a further relationship away from God. And it's funny because I had a manager that's no longer in my life. We parted ways, and he asked me exactly why didn't I go to church, and I told him, and he was like, is it because of you're gay and everything that you don't go to church? I was like, no, that's not the point. It's just that I'm content with who I am, and on top of that, I have a relationship with God, and at that time, even though I didn't. In the past, I had a relationship with God. So to me, I felt like me bringing God up was my strong point of to just avoid the situation. When at that time, God is who I needed, and I neglected that. So keep up with what I'm saying, because at this time, I was still neglecting. I was still saying I'm fine when all actuality I wasn't. But I knew that this was my breaking ground where I knew where I had to go back to. And the reason why I didn't want to move forward with the situation was because of the simple point of fact, when you move forward and say you go to a church that you're not used to going to or being brand new in a church, there's a lot of assumptions, who is he and everything. And for me personally, I didn't need that because I automatically was going to think it was negative when in all actuality it was positive in a way. Because at church, the church is for everyone to go to get their blessing, to get the word of God, but at the same time, church is not the best place to go sometimes because of the stigmas, because of the relations that people have in the church, and because of the preacher, because of the deacons and, the first ladies and all of that. Because everybody feels like it's such a corruption when, the church should be pure. When we go to give God thanks and we're able to go and have these certain things as far as Bible study and, being on the choir and everything and being able to sing out your pain. But for me, I felt like that wasn't for me. Now, back in 2010, I lost my brother. My brother to me was my king, and when I mean my king, to me, honestly, my brother was a father figure in my household because at the time he was the only male in the household that was older than me. It was just me, him, and my mother. So, when I lost him, that was a very dark place, and I basically shut down. So, that was basically my walking point into darkness because at some point, in fact, I was 18. I just came out. I lost my brother at 19. That following December, I came out in July, August, and I lost my brother that following December. Because of the things that he was going through. The things that he was dealing with, which I honestly can say that I'm healing from the pain. I haven't healed yet, but I'm healing from it. So, I was just hurt. I've been through this before with the separate family, my second family, the Hightower family. They know me, and I went through it with Jamila, so I knew the pain was familiar. But even though that was my second home, my brother was my first home. So it hit me, and when it hit me, I didn't even know how to handle it because I never went through the pain that I was going through then. I've seen my brother and my sisters, Shelton and Takia, go through this pain. But even though I was physically and mentally there with them, I didn't know them from basically being raised as babies and children. We came around each other. Me and Shelton became friends around 8, 9, 10 years old. So, we were friends. There was a brotherhood and everything was there. But when we lost Jamila, it was kind of sort of a fast thing because it was like, her troubles, her hurt, and her being gone and taken away from us till me going through this pain, me knowing how it felt, me going to court with them, staying as a brother with them, and then fast forward to 9, 10 years later, me going through the same thing they went through. So to me, I had to find courage in myself to be able to say, hey, it's okay that you went through this and you went through this hurt and it affected me. So what I had to do was combine all of this and had to go to God about it and had to feel that basically had to come to a point of positivity and saying these people aren't against me, they're with me. You know what I'm saying? And and there's sometimes people in your circle who you feel like aren't for you, but you have to realize that they are for you because they've simply been there. They've been there at your lowest, your highest, at your peak. And at this time in my life, I'm at my peak. I'm at my peak to continuously being loyal to God, continuously being loyal to my husband, continuously being loyal to my family. So, me personally, like I said, this is my healing point. This YouTube video is my healing point. To show that I'm healing and I'm fine. To be able to come to sense that the things that I went through, simply okay. I had to go through the things, and not that anything was my fault. It just simply happened. And that's the way God works. Things are going to happen in your road of life because they were already planned to happen. And even though we didn't know, God knew. And that's who I had to go to at the end of the day. And people don't understand of the importance of going to God and giving Him thanks and everything like that. Because sometimes they feel like He wouldn't have put me through this. But He doesn't put you through nothing that you can't handle. You may think you can't handle it at that time, but He knows that you can handle it. And at that time, you may feel like, what is this? This is the worst moment. This is things I shouldn't be going through. I need money. I need a job. I need this. And in all actuality, this is what you need because this is your simple testimony. So that's what I was going through. I needed a job. I needed money. I needed to be okay. I was out on my own. So, I needed these things in order to survive. And that's what I was actually working to do. I was doing these things. I was having a job, getting a job, doing these things, getting paid bi-weekly. But I was forgetting the most important thing, and that was God. So, this is my first video. Like I said, I don't want to make it too long because I can go on about this specific topic ongoing. But to me, courage, you have to pick yourself up and say, I'm going to continue to do what I'm doing. I'm going to continue to keep on going and do what I do because this is what God wants me to do. And that's what I had to come to terms with. I had to come to terms with me going through the things that I was going through. It wasn't a vendetta. It wasn't revenge. It wasn't, hate. It wasn't negativity. It was just something that God already had it planted in my road of life. And that was my testimony. And people don't know, and I didn't know, that was your testimony. This was my mom's testimony. This was my testimony. This was my sister, my niece's testimony. So we had to go through these things and say, this is our testimony. We lost something that was very important to us. And even though we don't have the perfect relationship, we have to remember what's most important, and that we're family. So, everybody had to go through that. And I didn't have a problem with speaking out and saying anything about this topic because when it's pure and it's love, you have to eventually accept the fact of the things that went on in the past. And you have to grow from it. So this to me is my growing point. This is, like I said, my first YouTube video. I am going to have 2 channels. So you're going to see me on another channel playing video games and basically doing product reviews. And my product reviews probably won't happen for a long time. But me basically playing video games. Like I said, this is my first YouTube video that's going to actually be uploaded. But this is who I am. So I want you guys to be able to follow me on my journey of the negative stuff that you're going to see, the funny stuff. This channel is going to be having story time because I do have story times for a lot of different things. They're mainly going to be from personal and work experience. So just look forward to that and continue to look forward to me. So I hope you guys continue to have a blessed day. Thank God for waking you up. Thank God for being well. Thank God for being healthy. Thank God for, just being you. I had a problem with accepting me getting a little fat. I went from about 140, 60 pounds, somewhere in that range, to now being like 250. So I gained, about 100 pounds. So, and that's going to follow through my next my next segment, and that's going to be confidence. So this first video was courage, the next video is going to be confidence, and then the third video is going to be self-worth. So what I want you guys to be able to do, you can follow me on social media. Honestly, I'm on Facebook, Akeith Pickett. You should be able to find me there, and you can find me on Instagram. Instagram is PLuigi23. That's going to be my gaming show. YouTube as well. Snapchat is PLuigi21. And the new thing that I've been doing is called Split. So if you see me send you a text message or do the link on Facebook, please get those $5 so you can split $5 with me, and we can keep the rotating thing going. Because guess what? We all need money. I ain't gonna act like I don't, because I know I do. I am currently a student, but hey, ain't nothing wrong with making an extra piece of change on the side, So You guys just reach out to me on social media. If you guys message me, I will try my best to message you back as soon as I can. And peace out.